going to go. Well, hello, my pride and joy. Thank you for being here on Alive to Roar. And I am on the road today. But we have someone from over the pond, Ben, who's going to talk with you. And Ben, why don't you kind of introduce yourself a little bit, and then I can ask you some more questions.
Yeah. My name's Ben Ling. I am from Scotland, near Edinburgh, and I have been an entrepreneur basically from a very young age. My dad's an entrepreneur, and he's been an entrepreneur his whole life, so it's kind of in my blood. And I very quickly got into business, helping my dad through search engine optimization and growing his businesses. I helped him build a property portfolio with off-market deals to buy real estate, and he ended up buying about £2 million Great British pounds of property portfolio through these free leads that we found through search engine optimization. So that was probably my early success and win. And it was for my dad. It wasn't like directly going into my bank account. I ended up owning 2 of these properties with my dad, but he's managed them ever since. And that was a bit back when I was 18. I'm now 33, and I've continued to do search engine optimization and helping other businesses like rank high on Google. And I've started a second business last year in house clearances. So I have a house clearance business as well, where we clear houses out after someone's passed away, or they have an end of tenancy, like a messy tenant that's left stuff behind, or if just people are moving house. So I've got that business, which we've been applying everything that I know as a marketing person, and I'm building a little team and setting it up in a way where I don't own any vans. Sort of growing it without, like, have a house clearance business, but I don't have any vans, because I'm taking it the smart approach of the information age approach with using the internet to leverage generating leads, and then I'm essentially just making money as a commission-based business, like an estate agent makes their money, a middleman. And I've learned to stay in my lane where I'm really good at digital marketing and sales, and then I delegate everything else. I learned very early on that, like, I used to think when I was at school that I had 0 skills or 0 strengths. But what I learned that I'm good at is creating and coming up with ideas. So I'm good at starting businesses, and I've ended up starting I currently own 3 businesses right now, and the 4th one is now coming in. So I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I just keep starting businesses, and I've had 3 kids as well. So I'm a very busy person, and I like it that way.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Wow, those are a lot of different things going on. So tell us some more about search engine optimization, what it really is, and what it does for a business.
Yeah, so you know, Google is the first search engine we think of when we think of a search engine. So that's when you need something, you search it into Google, and you find a product or service that someone offers. So if you want to be found in this day and age, Google's a better option than Yellow Pages, because essentially everyone's attention started moving to the internet when they need something. So most people go on Google when they need something, and this is where I get people who are not online yet, and I get them online by building them a website. And then once we build them a website, we optimize that website so that when people search, like potential customers search a product or service that you offer, your website will actually show up when they search that. That's essentially what SEO, or search engine optimization, is. And I've really focused on generating making the phone ring and generating email inquiries through that method.
Okay. So is it pretty complicated?
For me, it is like it's a specialized skill. But for my clients that need it done, not really, because we sort of do it for them. So it's the most simple way to look at it is we used to get the phone to ring by putting an ad in yellow paper, in the papers, in the newspaper, or billboards on vehicles and things, and that still works. But it's a more traditional way of doing things, traditional industrial age way of doing things. In the information age, which we're in now, the people use computers and iPhones and smartphones and tablets, and that's where the attention is. So it's just getting in front of where the attention is going, and the attention's on social media, on podcasts, on Google, and we just make sure that our customers' websites are in front of where the attention is, and we can do research to understand like a certain keyword you might think that someone searches. We can go and look at the data and say, actually, no one searches that at all. So there's no point in putting an advert up for that when you could put an advert up for this, which gets searched 100 times a month or 1,000 times a month. So it's similar to being like on a motorway, a busy motorway in a city centre, and having a billboard up there. You could put your billboard up there, or you could put your billboard in like on a country road that no one ever drives down.
Right.
So it's kind of like that analogy is make sure that your billboard is on the busy motorway. And that's what I do on Google, is make sure that people's websites show up on where there's actually people searching for it.
Okay, so I imagine Google's the most popular, but there's other search engines out there like DuckDuckGo and whatnot. So if you optimize it on Google, will it also optimize on the others?
Yes and no. So I think Google, the reason I always just talk about Google if I'm talking about SEO is because the last time I checked, Google own about 90% of the search engine market.
Oh, wow.
That's a large, like they've dominated the search engine market. When people think about finding something, they think of Google. So the only reason Bing has got a share of that is because when you install a Microsoft computer, Microsoft owns Bing, so they make that the default web browser. But a lot of people then change to Chrome or change their default web search engine to back to Google because they prefer the results that they get on that. So it's balanced out where like 5 or 10% is all the other search engines. So I really focus on Google, and if you do everything right for SEO purposes on your website for Google, it will show up on the other ones as well because they all work the same.
Oh, nice. Okay, so and I'm sorry, I usually have everything written down to draw on when you talk. So we talked about doing the SEO for companies, and what else is it that you do? What other businesses do you have?
So I do a lot of things, but the other big thing, like the bread and butter, is the house clearance business.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that, about why people would need it. So maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about why people would need a house clearing business.
So we work with lawyers and solicitors usually who have a client that is dealing with a bereavement when someone's died in their family.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost like the second task down after someone goes to a funeral director. The next thing they want to do is to clear out all the furniture from someone's house. So they come to us as a service if it's a big job, because they don't want to go and hire a van or a skip and put all that stuff into rubbish. And we like people use us as well because we're eco-friendly and we upcycle a lot of the stuff. So because
Okay.
it's like their parents' stuff, it's usually their parents' stuff or an auntie or a sibling that they're clearing their house for. So it's quite an emotional period of their life as well. It's not, it's even like, it's like moving home times 100, like in terms of stress and emotions. So we're like we deal with like a large part of, like, I deal with the like customer service part of it, and I organize the guys that have the vans to go in there. But any problems, like, we're always like the people who deal with the customer service of it, because they need that sort of support through that process. So the reason that people need that service is because they're, all of a sudden someone passes away. You can never predict when that's going to happen. So they're bombarded with this task of getting everything organized after someone's passed away. And house clearances just happens to be one of the steps of before they sell the property. So
Right.
we come in as a service to clear that. And I stumbled into this industry. Again, I'm a businessman. So I stumbled into this industry and I just realized how much a demand there was for the service. I couldn't believe how much a demand there was for it. And when I think about it now, in hindsight, it's of course there's a lot of that happening on a daily basis. And it's not just bereavements and after someone's passed away. It can be landlords dealing with their tenants who move out as well. So people are moving home all the time. People are buying and selling property all the time and moving from one rental property to the next. So I didn't realize that industry even existed. And then when one of my clients who needed my help to do the marketing for them, we sort of partnered up because I seen the opportunity with him that he was sitting on a big opportunity. So I helped him do all his digital marketing and things, and we built that up together. And it's just snowballed since then because we're offering a good service and getting a good reputation, and people recommend you, and then your business becomes the referrals eventually.
I like what you said. You offer good service and you have good recommendations. And I think that's so important in business.
Yeah.
You know, you are offering a service that someone has to pay for, but you're going beyond that. You're considering their emotional state. Even as a landlord, you know, you've got this money maker sitting there, but someone's destroyed it. It's going to cost you to clean it up. You don't have the time to do it because you probably have several things, rental properties. And I mean, that's good. You look at what they need emotionally besides what they need physically done for that.
And house clearances, again, house clearances and marketing are just a couple of things that I do, but there's a lot more interests I have outside of those things. We could talk about them as well.
Well, let's go for it.
So like I haven't, like, my introduction is too long to make it the introduction. A lot of my friends that know me have said, like, I live two lives. I have this like busy family life with like 3 young kids and a wife. I share that time between up here in the office. I read a lot of books, and a lot of books. Like I read a book a week. So nice. I have like a home library and an office library now, but I really have encouraged a lot of people to start reading as well. And these are non-fiction business books. So it's essentially self-help, personal development and business books. And then beyond that is philosophy, history, but it's all about education, and they cover all the areas of health, wealth, love, happiness, relationships, spirituality, family, consciousness, which obviously is basically spirituality. So I'm very broad in that way, in the way that I look at life. Like, I'm not just a businessman. I really am trying to like build my own philosophy and theories and values in myself through my own experience and through learning from other people, and bringing that together through my own experience and throwing out some ideas there as well to people who are maybe a couple of steps behind me. So like
Right.
my where I speak from, like if I'm on stage or if I'm on a podcast, who I'm speaking to, who my audience tends to be, is me 10 years ago. And as I move, like as I become 40 years old instead of 30 years old, I'll be talking to the 30-year-old people and behind that as well, because you can only, obviously, I prefer not to learn something and then just be an expert in that field. It's important to learn it, do it, have an experience, and teach from there. So I remember Andrew Carnegie. I read a lot about Andrew Carnegie and his philosophies, and there's good and bad stuff about him, but I learned the good stuff about him and his good philosophies, and Napoleon Hill stuff about him as well. And Andrew Carnegie talked about the first third of your life is about learning, and then the middle part of your life is about doing, about like having experiences and putting this theory or knowledge into action. And then the last part of your life is to give. Like, again, that's just the structure someone's put out there is to say that that's how to live your life. It's not to say that you need to follow that. But this is kind of like the way that I look at life as well, is that there is sort of stages in your life that you can't become a life coach or a mentor overnight. You need to really have some substance behind you, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. I like that. You know, it's this, the speaker earlier this morning, Rafael Gomez, he was talking about leaders are readers. You know, they read and then they gather this information, and you don't just read it and go on to the next thing. You take it, you digest it, you put it into action, and what works, what doesn't work, and then you can teach others. And one thing I like about John Maxwell is he talks about leaders will teach the person below them how to do it. And then they don't just leave them at that. They help that person teach the next person. So you've got three that are going on there, and then he teaches him how to help him teach the next person. So you have these levels of teaching and learning go. And that same goes for you. You have to have coaches and mentors to teach you so that you can keep on teaching others, whether you want to look at it as a teaching or not. What you do, people are learning from it. People are observing you. They're watching what you do, how you do it, how you react or interact, or what actions you take. And I think that's really important. I love that you read a book a week. That's just amazing to me.
Yeah, it's I listen to audiobooks, so I technically don't read.
Oh, good. Well,
yeah, but I get through a book a week. But then I then buy the paperback and I study it after if I like it. So that's the other side of me as well, is that I like business, but I don't just like business. And I realized for a while that I can get really focused on certain things that I do, but I think the most interesting part to me is probably what people have told me is the book side, and like this passion to learn and teach. That's what I've realized is my life's about ideas, learning, teaching, and inspiring and empowering other people. So like my mission is just to keep coming up with ideas and actually test them out and put them into businesses or practice, and come back full circle, like the hero's journey, and then report how that went, like sort of a human guinea pig, and have a go like how the mission is really just to empower other people and for me personally, I need to keep on growing to be in a position where I can continue to grow and empower other people. So when I grow, everyone else grows around me as well. Like my mum, my wife, my kids, and my friends. Like you have that like spillover effect onto people if you keep
Right.
growing yourself. So
Right.
that's what my purpose is in life, is to become wise, essentially, because wisdom is knowledge and experience combined, and then to just be able to be a person of service that can actually help people, and I don't think that's possible unless you like have worked a bit on yourself and your own cups overflowing.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you, and learn more about what you have to offer for them as clients, or to grow and be empowered with you.
My Facebook profile, Ben Laing, and it's Laing, the second name. People think I'm saying Lee. And Instagram, I have my handle as Ben Laing, then the number 2. And it's the same on Twitter. So I have a lot of YouTube videos up if you search my name as well. And you should be able to Google me as well. Yes, so there's a few ways. I offer business mentoring, and we do a bit of like crossover into essentially life coaching of the spiritual, not the spiritual, but we focus a lot on visioning and making sure we're working back from a person's life purpose, from their vision, not from their ego, and not from what society tells us as success is, but what their version of success is. So we work from their version of success and purpose that comes from like your soul and your heart, and then working from there and building your business around your values. And there's much more success that way, rather than, trying to copy someone.
Yeah, definitely. It's more genuine and authentic then too. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking to my listeners and to my pride and joy. I thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time on Live
Thanks for having
Tarot.
me.